I want to pause for a moment to talk about someone whom I admire. Is a conservative voice in the United States, someone by the name of Kirk. What's his name? He has some. He's studying. It talks about how he's studying to keep the Sabbath, and he saw Sabbath as something that is relieving to him. Charlie Kirk, by the way. Yeah, that's the name. He started, and he doesn't know about the truth from what I'm going to show you. He doesn't know the truth, true identity and true meaning of the Sabbath. But once he started keeping the way that the Jews are keeping, he said, I am experiencing some personal change in my life. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you so that you can see as well. This is what he's saying. Look at it.
Yeah, well, and I'll say one other. I mean, I'm going to challenge you guys on one thing, and Allie, I don't know if you know this. Last July, I was traveled all across the country last year. I was getting really stressed and just worn down, typical stuff that happens on the road. And a pastor friend of mine said, "Charlie, you got to take a Sabbath." And I was like, "Oh, we're not bound by that commandment, whatever." And he really convicted me. So every Friday night, I take a Jewish Sabbath, turn off my phone, Friday night to Saturday night. The world cannot reach me, and I get nothing from the world. It will bless you infinitely. Now, I'm not saying you're bound by the laws of Christian. I'm not saying that that's something you have to do. I'm saying it will make your life better. It was important enough that God put it as one of the 10 commandments. And I will say, there's debate in some theological circles that we are bound to it because it predated the law. God rested after creation.
Friends, who are the people that make that argument? It predates the law, the Sinaitic law. God rested at creation, so we should be resting at creation. He's not so sure about that law, but he said, I've experienced it for myself. And I see that there is some light in that. Friends, these are the people that are going to be converting in the last minute, and he really understands the meaning of Sabbath. Putting his phone off, no other communications. Try and rest entirely from the work. And he doesn't worship God for who he really is with the true understanding of Sabbath, but nonetheless, he is experiencing the blessing of Sabbath. Can you imagine that? Can we be blessed? I believe we can get more blessing if we actually keep the Sabbath as well. Make Sabbath. Sabbath should really be a day in which we relieve ourselves from all those burdens. Now, look at how he concludes.
So I want you to think about that. So Friday night to Saturday night, no one can reach me. And I wake up, I wake up on Saturday night, I open up my phone, 600 text messages, 900, whatever. But it is the best 24 to 25 hours. And if every young person took a legitimate Sabbath from Friday night to Saturday night, I guarantee you, anxiety would go down, depression would go down, you'd actually spend time with people you care about, meaningful conversations would happen. So I challenge you, if you incorporate that in your life, there's no negative. The only negative would possibly be if you had to contact someone in an emergency. If it's an emergency,
Let's leave it to that. Now, the only case would be emergency, saying anxiety would go down, depression would go down. And let me ask you, is that what the Sabbath was for? Exactly, that's what the Sabbath was for. To rest aside. 6 days thou shalt labor. Sunday you shall labor and do your chores. That is not resting. Do not conflict personal resting with Sabbath resting. That's totally a different thing. When the Bible says resting, it's talking about contemplating upon the creative work of God and doing no work. It's not talking about resting and doing your personal chores. And this guy gets it. Stop everything that burdens you, even your cell phone. Just turn it off. Turn it off. Relax. Stop from those busy. It keeps irritating. It keeps bringing all those works during the week again. Your email, your messages that are coming in, reminding you again of you do not rest at all. Now, just by talking about this, let me just tell you, even history has proven that, talking about the 7-day cycle. When God created, it's not like a year in which the world rotates around the sun and then it comes to a same spot, so we know, okay, now it's the beginning of another week. No, the Lord just say, just make it 7 days a week. And the matrix system, the people who came up with the matrix system, the French, they said, now let's increase it to 10 days a week. But because whoever came up with that 7 idea it's a ridiculous idea. We'll come up with 10 days a week. September 22, 1792 was the first day one of beginning that experiment, 10 days a week. they came up with a conclusion that that was a totally wrong decision 13 years later. Why? Because the psychiatric halls were filled up. Many people were becoming crazy in their mind. They said, we cannot do this. We cannot continue this. We have to rest, work 6 days and then rest 1 day, 7 days. If you see in history as well, the French around 1920s around there, they came up with the 5 day week cycle. They said the French made it so long, 10 days is too much. We'll make it 5 days a week, a number that is divisible. Okay, they started it. You know what happened? The country's productivity level went sinking down. They said, we got to change it back to 7 days a week again. And let me ask you, who gave the 7 day cycle? You can search it in the internet. Circadian cycle, 7 day cycle. Friends, God has given us 7 days. 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy work. 7 day, put of every work, rest and worship God. That's the purpose of, that's the true purpose of Sabbath, friends. Anyone who doesn't know that, tell them. This is why Sabbath is very crucial, very important. This is why we are not like any other denominations where they go to church and then go back to their work. We have to stop everything and worship God on that day. Friends, if you are blessed by it and want to see the whole video, click here. If you want to see another video similar to that, click here. And do not forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay updated. God bless you all.